News dominating the day as Combine Week heats up. Monday, a metaphorical kick in the butt. The Green Bay Packers filing a formal request to have the tush push banned. Coaches and execs sounding off sense. Tuesday, Nick Sirianni took the opportunity to defend his short yardage answer.
We worked so hard at that. I'm a little insulted that in the sense of it's like, well, it's just a gimme. Like, we worked so hard at that play. We worked so hard at that play. The people that we've met with to make that play go as coaches.
What do you mean? What do you mean the people that you
I don't want to get into that. I'm not going to give that information up. But you'll go to any lengths to improve a play. And, you know, we'll meet with anybody we need to meet with to get better at the fundamentals of that play. So coaches being able to coach it and the players going to be able to do it. You don't get to the creative ways that our coaches figure out how to drill that because you know you can't. It's hard to drill that and to practice that. But they found such creative ways to do that. Our guys really dove into the fundamentals it takes, and we have very talented players there with that. And then the compliments that come off of it, I think what's so exciting about that play also is that you're seeing it at every level of football. Right? You know, if I get on Twitter, which is very rare, or whatever it's called, and I see a high school team, it brings so much joy to me that a high school team's doing it. My son, in a football game this last year, scored on that play.
Really?
He scored on that play. He went in at quarterback. You know, he rotated with his buddy at quarterback. He went in and scored a touchdown on that. Like, I think that's awesome. Like, the Philadelphia Eagles are shaping the way football is being played. And then, just because somebody's good at something, we're talking about banning it. I think that's a little unfair, and again a little insulted by that in the sense of and we were high 80% in our success rate of it. There were times it didn't work well, and we had to go back to the drawing board of what we needed to do differently of it. And you got me going here on this now.
I love it.
And again, you saw it also play out in big games this year where a team didn't convert on that play, and it resulted in them not winning it. And so to say, hey, Team A or Team B is really good at this, let's ban that, I think that's crazy. Well, A.J. Brown's really good at catching the deep ball. I don't think we're going to ban that. Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal quarterback. We can't ban all the things that he does so well.
No passes.
Jalen Hurts, phenomenal things yeah, exactly. Patrick Mahomes can't throw the ball more than 30 yards down the field. That's never going to happen. And so it's the same thing here. And again, there is a beauty in the play because and I would get it if every team was 100%. I actually wouldn't even get that. I'd be honest with you, because again, there's an art to it, and and there were some defenses that did a really good job of defending it against us.
Who else saw Big Dom lurking? It's my guy. Combine Week, always an opportunity to shop and sow seed, but the Cleveland Browns still aren't taking your calls. The long-disparaged franchise making it clear that despite Myles Garrett's request to be traded, they plan to retain the six-time All-Pro. Andrew Berry making his first comments since the request.
So Myles, as you guys have all heard me say, he's a huge part of our organization, really good person. He's an awesome player. Understand the trade request and everything, but our stance really has not changed. We can't imagine a situation where not having Myles as a part of the organization is best for the Browns. Understand the frustration. We've had plenty of dialogue, but ultimately my responsibility is to make the decisions that are best for the Browns, and having Myles a part of the organization is a huge piece of that.
We also got swift news out of Kelce camp. According to General Manager Brett Veach, the future first ballot Hall of Fame tight end intends to return next season to play the final year of his contract. With speculation swirling, some clarity offered on Tuesday.
How we left at the end of the season is that he was fired up. He has one more year under contract, and still think he has that fire and desire to play. And as far as I'm concerned, there is no deadline. I think we left it as he'd be back, and we're excited to get him back and get him going.
Kelce's recent numbers do present decline, and the Super Bowl tape is not one he'll be rushing to watch, but the 35-year-old still a massive part of this dynastic run. And for more, we say hello to the two-time Super Bowl champ Bryant McFadden. Mac, always great to be with you. I miss you. Let me just lead with that. Let's start with the posterior prosperity, if you will, the tush push, really at the center of the conversation these last couple days. Both sides sort of crying unfair in the argument. It's nearly unstoppable, this wrinkle, but it's executed within the rules right now. Where do you fall on the matter?
I have an issue, and I'm a former defender, Joe, as you know, but I have an issue with the Green Bay Packers trying to get the tush push banned. I have an issue with that. It's not like it's a cheat element to the Philadelphia Eagles. They're doing everything within the rule books. But the issue for the Green Bay Packers, and oddly enough, remember, they had a chance to see the tush push in 2 different games, the first game and, of course, in the playoffs, so they had more than enough experience to see how successful that play is. But the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles, to Coach Nick Sirianni's point, they found a way to execute it. They found the way to be successful in doing so. And the reason that Green Bay and probably some other organizations silently would like to have that play banned is because they've been so good at it. The success rate has really been positive for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the NFL has always been about, Joe, adjusting, right? Adjusting to the new hot thing. That's what you do. That's what makes the game so great to watch. For coaches to find a way to slow down the newest hot thing in the National Football League. Remember years ago, the Wildcat, inserted by the Miami Dolphins against the New England Patriots, caught the Patriots off guard, and they had a field day. And they continue to implement that throughout that year. But guess what the league did? They adjust. And now we do not see the Wildcat as much as we did when Miami showed it to the entire league. So that's what you got to do. You got to find a way to stop it. You know what I mean? Because if it was good, if your offense could do it, you wouldn't have an issue. But find a way to master it if you would like to have this be a part of your game plan. So like I said, I'm a former defender. And when I do watch it, sometimes I get annoyed. But you cannot knock the Philadelphia Eagles for finding a nice, small wrinkle. They added to their offense that they have utilized more than none in terms of scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, similar to how the game has become pass happy and the archetype of a desired cornerback has changed. Maybe we see the revert to the big 3 technique or the nose guard type, the Vita Veas making a difference in the interior. You got to find a way. And if not, maybe the league does put their foot down at some point. Let's get on to our next topic here.
No, Joe.
I'm with you. Keep him out of 3rd and short. How about that, first and foremost? Trav is expected to be back for the Chiefs. That we learned on this day as well. Slow to start these last 2 seasons. The easy thing many point to is, let's call it the lifestyle change for the star. I know his brand has grown bigger than the game, but does it feel like folks are sort of talking crazy about a living legend right now? What are your expectations for next season?
Now, number one, hearing that he will return, I'm happy to hear that because I'm a fan of Travis Kelce. He plays the game the right way. And I'm hearing that he's motivated as well. But, Joe, being motivated and being able to display that motivation for the entire length of a season is another different topic. Because to your point, we saw career lows from Travis Kelce in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, and average per reception, 8.5. All career lows. And the last time we saw Travis Kelce in the Super Bowl in New Orleans against the Eagles, he looked like he was disinterested. We didn't see the fire. We didn't see the emotions. So it's safe to say Father Time is starting to catch up with number 87. He's 35 and he will turn 36 in this calendar year during the season. So of course, Father Time will catch up to you. But can he give us the Travis-like moments for their offense? Because for them to get back to the promised land, they would need more from number 87 than what they received this season. And I understand. I believe Travis Kelce, he realizes that. And if anything, Joe, he wants to go out with a good, in a good scenario. I think if they would have won this past year in New Orleans, that probably would have been his last hurrah, because what player would not want to go out as a champion? But seeing how things unfolded for them and seeing how he was not a part of their offense, clearly he was want to come back and finish out in a better situation, and most importantly, trying to get back to another sticky Lombardi.
To your point, what he does with this next 3 months is going to be massive in what he does with those following 9.
Yeah. He can't do as much traveling with his old lady and Taylor Swift and, traveling the country. It's time to get in the gym and start that workout regimen a little earlier, Travis.
What I was going to say, stay on that plane, but the gym can be where you are at that level. We're going to see how committed he is this offseason, what it looks like.
You know good and well, and our viewers know, when you traveling, it's hard to have the same workout regimen that you have when you're at home. It's very, very difficult.
Come on, Mac. I know you're at the Ritz-Carlton when you're here in Stanford. Putting in work there
wow.
at the.
I wish.
Putting in work. All right, let's jump to Cleveland here because it's an interesting one right now. Andrew Berry's word choice was interesting to me. Can't imagine a situation is not a no to me. That's a GM saying, you're going to have to knock our socks off is what it certainly sounds like. Like a Luka for AD thing. I know you're locked in on your Lakers, big one coming, but I digress. Do you think this is posturing by the Browns, or they really aren't going to flinch here and retain that star?
Of course, Andrew Berry, he has to say that about Myles Garrett because he truly believes that they have a shot to keep him, and clearly they do not want to trade him. But this world, this NFL world, is a different world than what we grew up watching years ago. Players, big-time players, superstars, Joe, they have more power. Going back to Jalen Ramsey when he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, he forced his way out of Duval County. Most recently, Tyreek Hill with the Kansas City Chiefs. He forced his way out of Kansas City. So, yes, if you're Cleveland, you don't want to trade him. But if Myles Garrett really wants to be traded, he will be traded. Because now, as I stated, the players, the superstar-like players, they have more power than superstar players did decades ago. So this is going to be intrigued to see how this unfolds. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this, Joe, Myles Garrett, he hold all the chips. Because if he really wants to be traded, if he told the Cleveland Browns organization, I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up. Cleveland, you don't want to call him bluff. Because one thing we know about Myles Garrett, he's a heck of a player, and he's never been this voiceful in terms of his future. And he has the dividends to be able to sit out if he want to. He's made a lot of money, and he will continue to make more money. So you don't want to call him bluff. So this is all about what Myles Garrett actually really wants. Because if he wants to be moved, I believe he will be moved.
And it's not just that he wants to be moved. He wants to be moved to a contender because that is the lone thing that he longs for in his career. So it's not 31 suitors. You got to think about the teams that he's going to say have an actual chance to win something a season from now. Some news from Colts brass as well, Matt. Chris Ballard calling the QB1 spot an open competition. I'm having trouble figuring out who else is on that depth chart. The Anthony Richardson experiment has had more lows than highs, to be fair, but does the 22-year-old deserve a full season of support from this front office?
No question. Shame on the Indianapolis Colts. Shame on you, Colts organization, because you drafted a kid coming out of Florida in 2 years. He only had 13 starts under his belt. So clearly, he needed more experience. He needed more reps. You drafted him with the 4th overall pick 2 years ago, and you gave him the keys. So now you're telling me in 15 career starts in the National Football League, you're ready to basically entertain other options. Come on. You had to exercise patience when you drafted him. Joe, he only had 13 starts in college, and he went number 4. So you knew he needed time. Now, because of injuries and up and down play, he's only played 15 games in his professional career, and you're ready to basically see what's out there. That's not fair to Anthony Richardson, because when you drafted him, he didn't have enough reps, he didn't have enough experience, and you needed to exercise patience. And now you have no patience. So this doesn't make any sense to me. So let's see how it plays out. But clearly, when you look at the depth chart currently, to your point, Joe, you don't see any competition for Anthony Richardson. So you know what they're going to do? They're probably going to go out and test the free agent market, go get a low potential offer to a guy like a Daniel Jones and say, Daniel, you want an opportunity to revitalize your career? Come in and compete with Anthony Richardson. And if you win it, go ahead. You could potentially be our Sam Darnold. But like I said, that's not right to Anthony Richardson, and shame on the Colts organization for not exercising patience.
As it currently stands, it's an open competition between a former 4th overall pick, like you said, and a 40-year-old out of retirement who could hang it up again. I think it says more about the general manager in that front office than it does the young QB who needs the reps still. We're hurtling towards a wild draft night, and that's sort of a perfect place to take it from. Richardson, the reach, the quarterback class this year as well. No consensus QB1 just yet, depends who you ask. So much demand at the position, limited supply this year. A franchise at 2 who no one wants to get drafted by, and then a team at 1 that maybe used to open shop in the pick but needs a QB. I'm having a hard time making sense of it all right now. What are the Titans best suited doing there at number 1? If they do come up at the end of the evaluation and say, we don't love either of these guys as a certified 1-1.
Trade out. trade out because clearly the Tennessee Titans, they need a lot. One player just won't change the direction of this program. They need a lot of resources. And the best way to get resources is try to move out of the top spot. And there could be some suitors. And they're right on point, thanks to the graphics team, because this is the most recent trade in terms of a team trading out of the #1 pick and moving back. Look at the haul the Bears received.
We got this backwards, but I got you.
Carolina. Yep, look at the haul. Now, of course, the graphic is not right, but Chicago, they swapped picks. They got 3 additional picks along with DJ Moore. And the Carolina Panthers, they will finish paying their debt to Chicago this year because the Bears gets Carolina's 2nd-round pick this year in 2025. So I'll give you the list. 3 additional picks. They swapped first-rounders in 2023. The Bears also got Carolina's 2nd-round pick in 2023. 2024, they get a first-rounder. In 2025, they will get a 2nd-rounder. So they got a first-rounder last year, and they will finish off receiving their resources from the Carolina Panthers and getting their 2nd-round pick this year. That is the haul. So if you're the Tennessee Titans, if there's any team that wants to trade up, now also we have to remember, Joe, Carolina was inside the top 10. They were at 9. So, of course, they had to move up a few slots, but it wasn't like they were in the teens. But that's what it took for Carolina to get to the #1 spot. If I'm the Tennessee Titans, that's what I'm using as the main goal in terms of what we want to receive from whoever it is that would like to move up. And let's go ahead and make it happen.
In the words of my guy, Bryant McFadden, a handsome ransom is what that would be to get that.
You better believe it, a handsome ransom. We all want a handsome ransom, right, Joe?
VMAC, it's always money when you're around. We appreciate you, pal, for stopping by here. As we take a look at some key dates, we're going to take a look at your odds to be the top overall pick. Cam Ward, according to our friends in the desert, currently the odds-on favorite. And interestingly enough, Shedeur Sanders, the other quarterback considered to be 1-2, 2-1, however you see it, 9-1 money to go first overall. So Vegas currently thinks it's Cam Ward. It's trading out. Or maybe it's Abdul Carter.